what we're going to do today is we're going to review a little basics, logarithms and exponentials, and then tomorrow we'll start to solve, and then we'll continue to solve on Friday. So today we're just going to talk about the properties and changing between forms. So just to recall, log base b of x equals y, that's log form, and b to the y equals x is exponential form. So when you're going back and forth between the two, this is how you would do it. Okay? So in doing that, just to review, if we have log base 3 of 9 equals 2, and I want to change that to exponential form, what I would do is I would do 3 to the second equals 9. And that would be exponential form. The same thing is I have exponential form here, and I want to change that to a logarithm. So I would get log base 3 of 27 equals 3. So just flip-flopping back between those two forms. Review for the first day of class. Okay. Then the next thing we talked about in class was how do we evaluate. So on the second part of that worksheet that's due on Friday, you're going to see stuff like this. So it'll say evaluate each of them. So what you do is it would look like this. So it'll say evaluate log base 4 of 64. So what you do is you set that equal to y to get that into log form, and then change it to exponential form. So we get 4 to the y equals 64. If you remember back right before break, in order to get rid of the bases, we have to make them the same. So we get 4 to the y, and 64 is the same thing as 4 cubed. Because the bases are now the same, those cancel out, and we're left with y equals 3. And then the last thing we're going to talk about now today, and just kind of review, has to do with the properties. So we're calling back condensing and expanding. Remember the project we did out in the hallway with the different things here. So I have log base 4 of 3 plus log base 4 of x. That's the same thing as addition means multiplication. So log base 4 of 3 times x. Remember, there's an imaginary multiplication sign when the number and variable are switched together. The other property, again, going back to the exponent properties we talked about the last couple units, if we have log base 4 of 3 minus log base 4 of x, subtraction means division. So that would be the same thing as log base 4 of 3 over x. The first one's your numerator, the second one's always your denominator. Subtraction means division. And then the last property we talked about with logs and exponentials was 3 times log base 4 of x. That number multiplied is the same thing to a power. It's a power rule. So 3 times log base 4 of x equals log base 4 of x to the 3. So that 3 comes up and becomes the exponent. Okay? So those properties, if you're kind of struggling on them, pull out that exponent sheet from a couple units ago and kind of reference back to that. So the last couple things we're going to do, just kind of review again, is we're going to work on a condensing one and an expanding one. So your goal is by the end of the day tomorrow is try to get through those 3 sections on that worksheet. And when you come to me tomorrow on the video, after you watch this video, answer any questions that you have over changing log to exponential, any of the properties, evaluating, or condensing and expanding. So we're looking at this problem here. It's log. Remember, there's no base here. There's a base 10. So log of 9 plus 3 times log of x minus log of y. So I want to condense that. I want to do my addition, then my subtraction. So addition means multiplication, and then I have multiplication here. The first thing I'm going to do is move that 3 up there. So when I write that, I get log of 9 plus log of x cubed minus log of y. Going back to this property right here, that 3 becomes the exponent. Now I handle my addition, and my addition we know is the same thing as multiplication. So I'm going to condense those together. So I end up with log base 9, or log, sorry, of 9 times x cubed minus log of y. And then I have a subtraction here, and we know subtraction means division. We're bringing them back together. So my final answer here would be log of 9x cubed over y. So log of 9x cubed over y. And that would be my final answer. And that would be condensing. And then the last thing we're going to do today is do an expanding one. So we're going to do the opposite of what we just did. So we took the properties here on the left and went to the right. Now we're going to take the properties on the right and go to the left. So you want to make it as big and long as possible. So now, instead of a log, I have ln. Remember that natural log is the same thing as log base e. That'll come in handy tomorrow when we start solving. So ln, natural log, is the same thing as log base e. So first thing I want to do is handle my division. I'm doing backwards PEMDAS here. So division means subtraction. So I get natural log of 5x to the 7, remember that's multiplication there, minus natural log of y. So every time you expand for the most part, you add a natural log or a log. Every time you condense for the most part, usually drop a log. Okay? So there's nothing to do here, it's just a y. So now I'm going to handle this multiplication. Again, backwards PEMDAS. So I'm handling my division, now I'm handling my multiplication. So multiplication means addition. So I end up with the natural log of 5 plus the natural log of x to the 7 minus the natural log of y. I'm going through, and the only thing I have left is my exponent, again going backwards. So exponent means I move it in front. So my final answer here would be natural log of 5 plus 7 times natural log of x minus natural log of y. So natural log of 5 plus 7 times, you don't need that multiplication sign there if you don't want to, natural log of x minus natural log of y. So what we just went over was the properties changing back and forth, how to evaluate, set it equal to y, and then changing form, making sure your bases are the same, and then condensing, going to the right side, and expanding, coming to the left side. So again, if you can do those few parts on your worksheet, we should be good to go. Also, on the worksheet, or on the website, I've also uploaded the notes for right before break that kind of walks through some more examples of how to do these. Again, tomorrow I will see you at 9 a.m. on Google Meet. If you have any questions, let me know. Have a great day.